Good morning, beautiful people. Oh, I haven't had a shave. Doesn't matter. How you doing? Welcome to this Sunday morning, beautiful, exciting Moldavite workshop. I'm excited to be here. Good morning, beautiful souls. Before we start, a very wonderful lady suggested that we all do this morning. Go to your bottom right hand of the screen, click settings, then click quality, and then click less than 480. That should give us a much better quality live. Okay, I'm just going to go and grab some water and a cheeky coffee and come straight back. Please do that now. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Here we go. I grabbed some Moldavites, different types. I've grabbed a few oils. I've grabbed the Palo Santo with the Moldavite and little bits and pieces, some fake Moldavites, and a very, very beautiful piece of Moldavite, which is one of the highest quality Moldavites in the world, which is called Hedgehog from Bessenitz. So I think I've got everything, and most of all I've got myself with my memories and my experiences of all of these years of working with Moldavite. Welcome this morning to you. I hope that you are all feeling a little bit better than you did yesterday because of the healing session we did, because that's basically what it is. It's a healing session, regardless whether we are attuning to a certain frequency or a certain desire. Ultimately, when you attune to this source, this beautiful universal energy that is there, it heals you. So many people come to my, throughout the years, come to my healing little room, which I no longer have. They used to come to Bali, throughout Spain, different countries all over the world, and experience circle evenings, whether they be ritual evenings, whether they be just moments where we sit together and meditate. One of the things often happened is the healing of you. So although we come together and we want a certain thing to happen, that certain thing rarely happens because you heal. So what happens is, I'll give you a for instance, you come to a 7-day Bali retreat. We start the work, we have a talk, and we do a meditation, and then you go to bed and you come down in the morning and I say, good morning, how are you all feeling? Oh, I've never slept so better in my life. I didn't sleep a wink. I had a headache all the way through the night and when we were doing the meditation. Okay, so guys, what we're seeing now is an individual soul going through their experience of healing. The next morning they come, that person who slept like a log that night said, I never slept a wink. The person who had a headache says, I don't have a headache anymore, it's gone. The other person who, whatever. So what I'm saying is, every day is a different day to experience a different feeling due to your clearing of all of those we call energies or blocks or traumas that need to be dispelled. To dispel a certain issue, you first need to get to the root cause of that issue. So as the healing takes place, and healing is extremely powerful, it knows exactly where to go, where the most negative energy needs to be cleansed and cleared. So predominantly that's either in the mind, in the heart, or in the stomach. So the stomach can be terrible stomach pain or toilet issues. The heart can feel palpitations, pain in the heart, sadness, all sorts of negative feelings, and the stomach again can go into a shock feeling, so you can feel really terrible and feeling in shock. Again, these are all the issues that were trapped that needs to be released. You go to the head predominantly gives you bad headaches, and I went through that when I first started, and let me tell you, my headaches lasted about 6 months. And every time I went to a shamanic blessing, ritual, healing session, meditation, I used to have the most awful headaches. Once they disappeared because the healing process took place, I never had a headache thereafter. The only time I've ever had a headache since is from 5G. So good morning. I wanted to explain that before we continue today. We are now talking all things Moldavite from this moment on. Moldavite is an amazing meteorite, if we have to discuss it in that term. Being told it landed on this planet many millions of years ago. Regardless to that, which serves no real purpose to me at all, the science behind it, what really interests me of this very unique and unusual crystal is that every single piece I've ever picked up has its own uniqueness. So people will ask me the question, does Moldavite work in the same way if I buy one piece to another? There is a very beautiful pattern with Moldavite, and that pattern is it awakens. And I say awakens because I put it everywhere, because within this Moldavite, if you turn it into dust, you put it into some Palo Santo and mix it and then burn it like these sticks, the awakening sticks that I use. They have an amazing energy to awaken you. If you take a tiny little piece of Moldavite, this size, less than 0.17, 20 grams, if you stick that on your third eye or hold it in between your fingers, you will feel an immense energy. That energy is a creation of whatever is within Moldavite. It is a starter for an awakening to your spiritual inner flame, which, because of the world at this moment, dampens down our flame. We need something to awaken it. So I did a radio show about 9 years ago. And the guy asked me, how can we help heal the world? How do we change the world? And I said, give everybody a piece of Moldavite. And he said, why? I says, because it's the only crystal I've ever known that awakens every single person that's touched it. Now, the argument would be there that I've had Moldavite and it never worked. And my argument back would be two things. One, Moldavite takes sometimes a bit of time to, and it's basically a piece of glass. So it's not real. It's not genuine Moldavite. So those are the reasons why you might not get anything from them. The first reason as well is connected to something really important. Our own belief that we expect something magical to happen instantly. And soon as something doesn't happen instantly, we go into a close down, a shut off point where we then feel disappointed, upset, angry because we've spent 50 euros or 100 or 1,000 euros or 15,000 euros on a piece of Moldavite and it doesn't work. So you cut yourself off from feeling, and actually that has a lot to do with life itself. We so easily cut off when we don't get an instant fix. So it is one of the three reasons that I believe Moldavite kind of really pisses people off. And I don't like to swear, but I get some messages where people say, I bought a piece of Moldavite from my local store and I think it's fake and it doesn't work, and they get really angry. And that is no way to begin a journey with Moldavite, no way at all. So you have to learn to be still, quieten yourself, and most of all, don't expect anything. I was very lucky when I was introduced to Moldavite because my then teacher never said a word to me, just put it in my hand. And I didn't know what it was. It was an ugly green thing, I just held it and my whole body elevated. I could feel myself lifting off the ground. I'd never experienced anything like that really in my life. And I just went, what the hell is this? And that's what got me into Moldavite. She was so clever, she knew Moldavite, and she was so clever about the cards that I work with. She knew they were going to be the cards that I work with. She had a great gift that way. So let's go onto a little bit of discussion onto up in this kind of shape, which is the hedgehog. It had to have landed in a specific place in the world, get that, eh? And for it to land in a bed of sand, and then over the millions of years with the waters and the rains cutting into a beautiful piece of Moldavite, create such beautiful shapes. And in Besanitz, when I was there not so long back, taken to 9 locations where the most beautiful Moldavite hedgehogs were ever dug. And I was lucky enough to buy some beautiful pieces. I really was. And they are just divine, completely divine. So, to the point where these Moldavites now, over our 100 or 200 years, were dug up, and we've started to find out that Moldavite was used in many different ways as a talisman. They were used for royalty, wearing in crowns, wearing on armour. There is mention in many books that they were used by the greatest of seers in the world. If you study the occult, they also knew that the power of Moldavite was amazing. And I actually heard of one story where they created a sword or a small sword which they use for sacrificing. So even the dark occult use Moldavite. I don't believe light and dark has anything to do with anything, really. So when he says, oh yes, it's used by the occult and the dark and the satanic, well, a knife is used to cut bread. A knife is used to sacrifice, and a knife is used to carve a beautiful piece of violin. So how you use a piece of Moldavite is your integrity, your love, and your goal in life. My goal in life with Moldavite was to help people awaken. That was the bottom line. Can Moldavite help with other situations in your life? I think it's the only crystal that has the most multitude of energies to help with so many things. And there isn't a crystal I don't recommend next to Moldavite, because everything that I've used next to Moldavite that I've worked with has been absolutely unbelievable. I love to mix Moldavite with other crystals, but I also like to use Moldavite on its own. So if you now want to start asking some questions, I will answer as many questions as I can. I am at this very moment working on a book which I've been working on for many years. It's a very exciting book, but the problem lies is that 2020 came, and it really has shifted a lot of the answers and questions that I had with Moldavite, because Moldavite is expanding to 2020. So what was relevant then is kind of shifted. So I've had to go back to the beginning of the book and add to what Moldavite does. Moldavite is the perfect crystal of 2020. There isn't a more powerful crystal this year than Moldavite. No, there is nothing. And I've tried so many crystals. Moldavite is the one this year. If you are wearing Moldavite, you're gonna attune to the energy of what's around you, what's going on, and how to raise your vibration and conquer the fear and the worry of what's happening right now. I wear Moldavite in bed. I wear Moldavite in the shower, but you've got to understand that when you're wearing a piece of Moldavite and it's on something like this, it might come off, because we do tend to glue them a little bit to keep them where they are. The only problem with silver is that if you catch the silver, it can pull that apart. So you have to be careful with your settings. Your settings, if you're wearing a setting like this as a Moldavite pendant and you're wearing it in the shower, then there's a good chance that the water will penetrate in and your Moldavite will come out. If you're wearing a Moldavite and it's wrapped in silver and it's tight in the copper and it's not going to move, then yeah, you can wear it in the shower. You can go into the sea with it because you know it's not going anywhere. But you have to be a bit wise and think, when it's in a setting and water gets in, it can dry out and dry the glue. Glue has no effect at all on a piece of Moldavite, nor a box which is lead lined and you put the Moldavite in it. If you place your hands on top of a lead lined box and there's a piece of Moldavite there, you will feel the penetration of the Moldavite, because Moldavite is energy and a lead lined box is energy, and Moldavite can pass through anything. If you go to Bajerski, there's one particular place where the most beautiful hedgehogs, which are these, were dug. I stood in the center of that field and looked around me, and all around me the trees were bent inwards. Moldavite is about 12 foot down, something like that. So you can imagine the power of Moldavite being so low down and having the energy to pull trees inwards. And I said to a few people, have you seen, look around, can you see anything? No. And they spotted that the trees, I said, just look at the trees. They were all bent inwards towards this beautiful small field. And it was so exciting. Did I want to dig? Of course I wanted to dig. Of course I wanted to go in. But I have integrity. And I felt, you know what? No, leave it alone and let this Moldavite heal me. So I meditated there, and it was the most powerful meditation I'd had for a long time. Just for 10-15 minutes was just incredible. The feeling of dizziness, because Moldavite can make you feel dizzy. The heat that comes off you, so you feel really hot. Many people call it the Moldavite flush. My heart beating really fast, and I can't breathe. That's another sign of Moldavite. I want to just clarify something. I've worked with Moldavite for 16 years. If Moldavite was in any way dangerous, like some people say, that it has nuclear energy and what have you, then I think I'm living proof that that's not reality. It's just a made-up, fear-mongering, put there to stop you from touching Moldavite. And probably there is some kind of very clever manipulation that they wanted you to buy their crystal, or what they're selling, or what they've purchased and they need to sell. A lot of the times people will sway you away from something because they want you to buy something they have. So I checked this morning, 83% returning clients for Moldavite on my website. Therefore, I don't need new customers. I don't need them because I've got enough customers to last me a lifetime. 83% returning customers from the past for 3 years. So what does that say? Well, it tells you Moldavite must be doing something right, because if I'm always desperate to advertise, it means that nobody's coming back and they've only bought one piece. I can guarantee you that 83% of my clients return and buy different pieces of Moldavite. Now we move on to the next question. Why buy different pieces of Moldavite? Well, one thing, we like Moldavite, so we like to have different pieces all the time. It makes us feel good, and we kind of think, oh, what does this one feel like? And they all have a unique energy, bearing in mind that they all work in the same principle, but each piece has its own uniqueness. So I can hold a piece of Moldavite. There is an argument there, by the way, because if Moldavite is from the same stone, which it is, it's from the same meteorite, or I would argue is from the same planet, and the planet that I believe it came from is what I write about in my book, because I've had not only visions, but anyway, it doesn't matter, but it's going to be in my book to where and what Moldavite was, and it should explain an awful lot to people. So it comes from a mother stone, so this mother stone is the memory that we feel, the memory of that stone, so the connection of the power within that beautiful planet. So when you take a piece of Moldavite and you hold it in your hand, you will feel different energies. Now, people will argue, and I get this point completely. You can hold a piece of Moldavite one day and feel something different the following day. So that could be that your body is healing one part, and then now it moves on to another. That is a fair point. My belief is that Moldavite, in its own uniqueness, in its shape, in its size, in its unusual colouring, so that subtle energy you feel differently from. So I can hold, say, this piece of Moldavite, or let's say this beauty, which is from Lemon House. This is on Lemon House. This is one I worked from Lemon House. If I hold this one in my hand and hold this in my hand, I feel two different energies running through both. Therefore, on a scientific level, that would suggest that they are both working in a different way. So that would be my argument. So say For instance, this beauty, which is again from Lemon House. I worked on this one. They have a collection on their website as well. And this beauty here, which looks like a coffee bean, this is a perfect Moldavite from, I believe, Malik Klum. And it's one of the most beautiful, highest grade Moldavites in the world. In fact, it is, without doubt, one that was wanted to be bought from a friend of mine who wanted to add it to their collection for a museum. So this is a museum piece that Lemon House has that I've worked on, and it is an incredible, powerful energy. And the energy within this one is a very, very powerful inner calming peace energy. So when you hold this, you feel instant, you've been washed or jet washed away from negativity. And you can feel chest being pumped up from the inside. It is one of the most beautiful pieces I've ever worked with and felt. It's divine in all its energy. You take this one, which almost looks like a golf club, right? This energy, when you hold it, it has a power energy that is connecting me. It's a fierce, and it's like somebody is throwing me through the atmosphere, shooting me through the atmosphere as fast as I can go. And when you meditate with this crystal, which I have many times, you feel like it's taking you to another place, another dimension, another world. It's an incredible, forceful and powerful energy. My hand now literally feels numb. So this is one of the things that you get with Moldavite. You start to feel a different energy around your hand. It's unlike any crystal in the world. So my hand's feeling numb. But I can feel my hand, but it feels like my hand is becoming more sensitive, more powerful. That's how powerful this crystal is. Like, my hand feels amazing now. It's bizarre to try and explain to you in words, but my hand feels incredible. It feels like it's alive. So this crystal, this unique, again, museum piece, which is very, very rare. You can imagine it flying through the air, spinning. It would have had another piece here, exactly the same shape, and it would have spanned through the air, and it chipped off as it was landing, and there you go. Beautiful. So, earrings are fantastic for meditation, fantastic for any kind of psychic work, really brilliant for if you're doing clairvoyancy, mediumship. Earrings are brilliant because you've got the energy around here, and that energy helps you here, helps you expand here. It's like putting a piece of Moldavite on your third eye. I work on these pieces basically every day and night. The little tiny pieces, less than a gram. What I do with them, I put them in a little bag and put them on my third eye. Moldavite slices for meditation to open and awaken the third eye. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic starter crystal. So if you go to your local crystal store and say you want a little piece of Moldavite, some people like them in a round little ball, and some people like them flat. I prefer them flat. When they're flat, they stick nicely to the head. And what I would do, I'd take either sacred oil from Lemon House, sacred oil, or Moldavite oil, which is predominantly Palo Santo, sage, and frankincense. I'm just going to take some out and show you. I take a little one drop, put it onto there, and stick it there, and then work with it like this. And I can already feel the Moldavite giving me a headache straight away now. So it's not a headache. It's your body is attuning to the Moldavite. Your body is feeling it, and it's breaking down whatever needs breaking down. So now it's gone. The headache was there, it's gone. Now I'm feeling like a very lightheadedness in the front of my forehead with it. So now I would sit and just meditate, meaning I would just allow whatever's to happen. I wouldn't think about anything. And one of the things I like to say and repeat to myself before I start a meditation for myself is, whatever comes into my mind is exactly how it should be. Whatever stays in my mind is exactly as it should be. Whatever leaves my mind is exactly as it should be. By saying these words, you tell your mind to shut up, because your mind says, okay, well, what do I do then? I don't need to worry about what comes in. I don't need to worry about what stays. I don't need to worry about what goes. And then it shuts down. So that is my mantra to start meditation, because I am not looking for anything. I am allowing everything to be. Okay. One of the things that I like to do with Moldavite is get my Moldavite oil or sacred oil and rub it on my Moldavite and then meditate with it. When I finish with it, I will get some warm water and clear the oil off so it's fresh again. Or I put Moldavite oil or sacred oil, hold it in my hand when I'm feeling amazing and strong, and just sit with for 15 minutes and put my love into that Moldavite. Also, you put the oil on it, leave it overnight, and then rinse the oil off with hot water, so you're back to a nice clean piece of Moldavite without any oil, and that Moldavite is energized. Also, I take Palo Santo. You might have some sticks. They're a little bit hard to burn, as you all know, the sticks, but these that I have, and I recommend them because I've worked with them for 16 years, they're amazing. Inside here is a mixture of Palo Santo and Moldavite dust. I got some grief for many months because people got angry with me because I made a video of me crushing Moldavite, little tiny pieces like this, into dust. I turned it into dust and then sent it to Peru. I said to my beautiful village who make them, please add this into the mix of the sticks. I first of all used to paint the dust on, and I do still now with my other sticks, which is cleansing sticks. So the sacred sticks here, when these come, I take them out of the packet and I paint Moldavite dust onto them. It's just a brilliant, brilliant thing. For many years I've taken dust and used it in paint, used it on many different occasions, put little crystals inside them. I've done all sorts, I really have, with Moldavite dust. So I got a lot of grief, a lot of grief of people getting angry with me for cutting them up and turning it into dust. And only a couple of months ago, I met somebody who was a collector and a spiritual Moldavite person. And they instantly were angry with me, when in an angry way, but I like people to talk to me in a way that we can I remember buying a beautiful piece of Moldavite from one of the best Moldavite dealers in the world, the biggest Moldavite dealers in the world. And I ended up buying the Flame of Bohemia. It was his best piece. And I went away and I just knew I needed to buy it because I wanted it, and I work with it every day. It's beautiful. And he said to me, you can buy it as long as you don't put it into a coffee grinder. And that made me laugh. And I said, oh, so you know who I am? He says, everybody knows who you are, Mark. He said, you do videos every day, so people watch Moldavite videos. I went, okay. I said, and he said, I'm only joking. I said, yeah. Like, no, it was kind of funny. But the person who approached me not so long ago was really angry. And in all walks of life, if you have collectors of whatever, there's a lot of ego. So if you've got clubs, if you've got online groups, there's a lot of ego. That's why I'm not into groups, I'm not into online anything. I'm not into meeting up with collectors because there's too much ego. I have no time for it. So as this person was saying such nasty things to me, I just said, can I just stop you there for a moment? I said, could you tell me what you've got on your wrist? And she said, it's Moldavite. I said, yes, I know. But can you tell me how that Moldavite is made? She was wearing a Moldavite bracelet with round beads. They were all round beads. They were all cut. They were all cut and polished. She knew exactly what I said. She knew exactly what I meant. She turned around and walked off. That's the ego and pride. So just a simple acknowledgement that you've just bought beads that have been cut and polished, and probably from China, because they are the number one cutter and polishers of Moldavite. Plus the fact, when you buy a set of beads, they normally are one genuine, one false. One genuine, one false. So what you're thinking, you're buying a genuine Moldavite, all cut and polished beads, are normally fake. So she knew what I said instantly. So she attacked me for cutting up Moldavite, yet she's wearing Moldavite which has been cut up. And that is the sad part, the really sad part about Moldavite and people who all of a sudden become experts and become so attached to it. It shows you how powerful Moldavite is, to be honest, because they're so passionate. But being passionate is different from being arrogant, judgmental and opinionated. And I have no time for most judgmental and opinionated. And I have no time for most Moldavite collectors, because they are really something else, especially when they're in the spiritual world. It really is heartbreaking. Okay, these are mala beads. I can never say the word right, but Rudraksha beads. For some reason, I ended up wearing these in Bali, and when I was wearing them, it was when I actually wrote about it in my book, Seeing the Invisible, and the chapter of, at the very beginning of the chapter, it was the first beginning of the chapter of why I stopped readings and healings, the day I stopped readings and healings, and if you read the book, you'll know why. Well, I wore for the first time some Rudraksha beads with my Moldavite, and it was extremely powerful. So I recommend Rudraksha, and then I ended up buying about 1,000 Rudraksha beads in Bali, and they're one of the biggest sellers on my website, and you can buy these absolutely anywhere as long as you don't buy the Chinese fake. So these are faked as well. I buy these direct from the family who make them. They're not as splendid as you can buy, but they are genuine and they're made with love. And these are genuine beads. If you go to your local store, I would suggest you buy these now. They work well together. There is something very, very special about Rudraksha beads and Moldavite together. It's incredible. It really is. Great for meditation and great for any kind of healers, seers, and anybody who does the shamanic work. I would suggest you give this a try together. Really amazing. The other thing that's really good as well is the water that I use. This water, I have, should I go and get it? That's right. So the water I use is, I have a jar of this water. It's only a low jar, and what I do is put the Moldavites in there through the night. So what this water is, and this water is, you know what I'm going to do for some of you guys, because there's not many people on here, but for the first, let's have a think. For the first 50 people who goes to info@markbajerski.com and says just one word, sacred mist. I'm going to fill sacred mist in these bottles and send you free of charge a bottle, okay? First 50, and I'll get that done for Monday for you. Obviously it costs a lot of money to ship, but I'm going to do it for you because I love you and care. What you do with this bottle is really, really important. Just like if you buy this bottle from Lemon House, you only need to buy one bottle. One is all you need. By taking this one bottle, you continually refill it. So unscrew, when you're down to half, you fill it up again, and it never runs out, ever, because the memory of the mist is in there. So I'm going to send you this. You are going to then get a bottle like this. You're going to open the bottle like this, and you're going to pour that bottle in here. Empty now. Then you're going to fill that up with clear water, not fluoride water, clear, distilled water, pure water, okay? Fill it up then, like this is pure. The rest of your life you will have sacred mist. Now, this bottle here, I've lost count of how many places I have got the most blessed water in the world. From the start of the Ganges to the most holy place in Bali, where one of the gods shoved his shaft into the water and the water now comes up. It's the most beautiful place. Fatima in Portugal, the list goes on and on. Loads everywhere. I received water over the years, and it's all in here. So it's all in these, going to be all in these little bottles, 50 bottles, right? If you want to buy a bottle from Lemon House right now, you'll be entered into the draw for over 1,000 to 2,000 euros of crystals, which we're going to this is the draw, which is going to be on Monday at 6 o'clock for all of these, plus all the other crystals. That there's six draws we're doing. 6 people can win. Okay, shut up now, Mark. Go on. Like I'm going off track. What was I saying? Okay, so with the mist, you take your mist and you spray and then just leave it for at least half an hour and then put it on or work with it. It works amazing. It really does. And the other thing you can do is take a little jar. Did I just say that? I forgot. You take a jar and you fill it with clear water and spray the mist into it, and then take the Moldavite, put it inside, leave it there overnight. Amazing. Amazing. The other crystal I found fascinating with Moldavite is tektite, and funnily enough, tektite is another crystal that flew from out of this world into this world. I know nothing about the tektite from Libya, the Libyan desert glass. I know nothing about that, so there's no point asking me about that, because I've never worked with it, never felt drawn to it. Doesn't mean it doesn't work, it's just, it's never been a crystal that I felt drawn to. That's all. You might get some amazing energy from it. Tektite, I was feeling almost like I wasn't getting any after effects or bad effects like I used to do when I was just wearing Moldavite. Especially like the feelings of, oh my God, what's going on? This is right, ooh, it's scary at the beginning. When I was wearing this and healing people, I was finding that I was more balanced throughout the day. So these two together is a fantastic combination. And this was the first beginning of, I think I need to put them together in a crystal. So I called them Maltec on my website. So it's Moldavite and Tektite, Maltex. And I have them on my website as both of them together. You didn't need a big piece of Moldavite, but the Tektite I really loved because I was holding it in my hand as I was doing the healing work, and I could feel for some reason that any negative energy was being absorbed into the Tektite. So when I wore them both together, this was giving me my moment that I needed to feel more and to go deeper. This was clearing any of the excess negativity that I was bringing to the surface of a client. So that would be the same as you. If you're wearing both of them, anything that you need to clear from your body, your physical and your emotional, your trauma comes up. If you're holding the Tektite at the same time, it's absorbing it and taking it away. Brilliant combination. Then all of a sudden, I came to the understanding that there was another crystal that amplified both crystals, and that crystal is here. It's called Herkimer Diamond, and thus I began, and I believe I was the only one to create it because of my work, the perfect crystal combination for 2020. Moldavite, Herkimer Diamond, and Tektite. They are the most beautiful combination. They really are. The Herkimer Diamond, as long as you're buying it genuine and you're not buying it from India, because India is claiming to have Herkimer Diamonds. They're not the same energy, guys. You've got to buy them from New York. It's the energy in that crystal that amplifies the Moldavite, that then amplifies the healing process of Tektite. It's a perfect combination. Lighting your awakening stick or your Palo Santo if you have some, and a couple of seconds is another way to refresh and clear and cleanse your Moldavite. And while you're doing it, make sure you do it all over yourself too. Some people like to use sound therapy, and I'm just in the process of purchasing a Moldavite singing bowl. Only a small one, but what I'm also going to do is put all my Moldavite pieces in there. So sound vibration is also a wonderful thing. I have like a beautiful, they call them crystal harp. And it was made, I think, in Russia by, I don't know, some kind of technical guy who may have worked for NASA. I don't know. People say different things, but it's amazing. And it has great tones, great energy tones. But you can also quite easily use and the frequency of this activates the Moldavite or clears the Moldavite from sound vibration. Don Tolman talks about the ancient wisdom of the singing bowl, and Don Tolman has a singing bowl to a certain frequency that the ancients used to use. That frequency of the singing bowl, which is clear quartz, was found, dug, and they found that the residue at the bottom of the crystal bowl, they were confused. They didn't understand the ancients of Egypt, and the residue was what they believed was grape, and they believed that it was wine, and they used to vibrate the wine before they drunk it. But Don Tolman, being the genius that he is, realized that it wasn't actually wine, it was fruit. So before they used to eat fruit and their food, they used to put it into the singing bowl and use the vibration. And that would energize the fruit. So it makes perfect sense to energize your crystals, your crystal Moldavite as well. Here's a piece of Moldavite that I really love as well. This is a Moldavite which is connected to a piece of clear quartz. Clear quartz is different from Herkimer diamond, even though they are quartz, but it is also still a very powerful combination. So that's something else that I really love working with, and I worked with Moldavite. Again, you might be able to find these in your local store, and I would suggest you buy them from your local store. I have a few pieces left every now and again that I work with, and I try to combine these as often as I can, and yeah, try to make them pretty as well. If you wear a Moldavite ring, they are fantastic for the third eye. Absolutely amazing. So if you're wearing a ring, great. If you're a healer, or if you want to heal people, Moldavite rings are perfect. And they really do bring out the healing energy within your hand. So rings are really special. I used to wear a ring which was, it was polished. I'm not really too much into polish these days. I like them in their natural form, but I get it too. Polished is still pretty and still works exactly the same way. Can you damage a Moldavite? No, no such thing as damaging a Moldavite, because if you think about it, every single Moldavite that you pick is damaged anyway. Oh, hey, bumblebee. Oh, well, little wasp. Okay, so they're damaged anyway if that's how you see it, but they're not damaged. To me, they're perfect as they are. That's how they landed, and they ended up in millions of pieces. So each piece is fascinating. On my website, I have over there some, there's a small collector's market for Moldavites which are, that have signs within the Moldavite. So I spend like hours sifting through Moldavite pieces and looking at them to see if I can see faces, animals, or anything unusual, symbols on them. And the value of them to this particular bunch of Moldavite collectors is like 100-fold. I had, I can't show it you now, but I will put it up somewhere. When I was in the Czech Republic, I met a guy at dark, because it's a little bit of a dodgy situation, is Moldavite, when you start getting into it. It's kind of dark, it's all backhand stuff, and where they dig, they're sometimes digging illegally, but take that aside. These people who dig, I guess trying to make a living, like any addictions to, anyway, I don't want to say too much, but suffice to say, you know, you've got to be careful where you buy from. But anyway, this one guy I met, which I didn't buy off him in the end, showed me, I think, 4 or 5 pieces. And the 4 or 5 pieces, this is to trade only, not to public trade. He wanted, I think it was between 8,000 and 25,000 for just a few little pieces. They were beautiful. There was one particular piece that I fell in love with, and it was less than 2 grams. It might have been 3 grams, and it was the size of a coffee bean, but it had a little tiny flip. It was a coffee bean, but it had like a section, a little bit that came up, so it looked like one of those. What is it now? It's a sports in winter where it's something that they push and then it slides along. It looked like that. It was perfect in shape. I've never seen anything like it in my life. That piece was available for 3,800, around that price. So Moldavite is becoming, so you've got to understand that Moldavite isn't just Moldavite because it's one piece. It's a Moldavite because of its shape, its colour, its texture, where it was dug, and many other reasons. So yeah, Moldavite can be extremely expensive. People, you know, I bought a piece of Moldavite which I could have bought a car for, but I bought it because I just wanted it. I just needed it Do I need it? Did I not really, but I just felt the pull towards it. And that was it. And I've never been able to afford anything in 16 years in my life, but because my website is doing better and people are trusting me more, I'm able to buy more, and thus I'm able to gift more. So it's a win-win situation. Okay, I think that's it. I am now going to turn and now allow you to ask any question you want. Doesn't matter how ridiculous it might sound. It doesn't matter how complicated it might sound. Please ask me any question you want. I'll try and see what you're saying now. I'll just wait for some questions. If you can keep them short, that would be great. Okay, I don't see any questions yet. I've never worked with Libyan Tektite, so I don't know. Sorry about that. About Moldavite. Okay, today isn't about the online course, but just so you know, right now we've got 4 people working on the online course, and I'm not going to put it out there until I'm 100% happy with everything. So you're going to get 100% happiness and joy out of the course, and I'll talk about it later. Can you wear no, you can't wear too much Moldavite. There's no such thing. When I was working with Moldavite as a healer, I had a bracelet. I had like 5 pieces on here, about 15 pieces in my pocket, and as I was doing I actually at one point was doing Moldavite healing. If you go back about 11 years ago, I did a spate of Moldavite healing, which I became a Moldavite healer. I just worked with Moldavite at one point, and I was giving Moldavite sessions. There's no such thing as wearing too much Moldavite. You can sit in a piece of Moldavite and be energized and feel amazing, but you're gonna feel the effect of Moldavite. And like I said, I'm telling you again, sometimes the effect is not as you wanted it to be. Oh, I want to be positive. I had a piece of Moldavite like this, okay, a lot smaller, and it was a teardrop. And I worked in Barcelona. I was asked to go to Barcelona. That was fascinating as well. That's in my book called Seeing the Invisible. One of the stories is where my last client didn't show up, and somebody turned up from nowhere out of an asylum. He'd lost his mind. He ended up there at the very moment that my last client was meant to come but didn't. So that client was then my client, and I wrote about it. It was incredible. It was incredible how spirit brings people at the right time. I worked for a full 7 days, right? So think about this. I worked 7 days in Barcelona in a beautiful office for 2 top psychotherapists in Barcelona, near Tibidabo, and I was giving personal healings and readings at 6 o'clock. When I finished, I got my wage. When I got paid, I walked down to the Ramblas, and from nowhere I ended up walking into a shop which was just a normal gift shop, and I had the most amazing feeling that came over me. And I turned to the guy behind the counter and said, "Do you sell Moldavite?" In a shop that was no crystals, and it was just a tat shop. And he looked at me so surprised, opened his safe, and he had 1 piece of Moldavite in there. It was a fortune. All of my money that I'd worked for, I paid for this 1 piece of Moldavite. When I took that Moldavite, I got onto a train to go and heal some dolphins. This is how weird that 1 week was so weird, it was unreal. For 2 hours or 1.5 hours, I travelled on a train to go and heal these dolphins. Can you imagine? Imagine healing dolphins. What ridiculous, eh? I took that Moldavite in my hand and I started crying from the beginning of getting on that train till the train stopped. So what I'm trying to say is that Moldavite gives you what you need, not what you want. Okay. Next question. Are you enjoying this? Are you enjoying this? I don't have my first piece of Moldavite because that first piece of Moldavite I gave away to somebody when I felt they needed it. There's never a piece of Moldavite that I've really kept. I have a personal collection, but normally when everybody's really in a bad place that I know and I've got that personal piece of collection on me, I normally give it to somebody when they need it. So I'll give you a for instance. I was in England with my son and I was sat in Halifax in a play gym, and my little Hugo was running up and down and I was running up and down and we were playing, and I sat down and I turned and this guy walked. I went, yeah. He says, I've just watched you on YouTube. I'm just watching you now on YouTube. I went, yeah, that's how it works. He says, I can't believe it. He says, I'm really thinking about a piece of Moldavite. And I said, well, funny enough, you don't need to. And I took one of my favourite pieces of Moldavite and I said, this is a gift from me to you. He says, why would you do that? He says, because I'm told to. And Spirit brings people that initially can't afford something, and I knew he couldn't afford a piece of Moldavite because the one that I had may have taken a month to save up or 2 months. But when you get to the point when you realize it's not important about how much a piece of Moldavite is, what's important is that Spirit says give them that piece of Moldavite, even though you'll fight and say, but it cost me a fortune. It doesn't matter, give it them, because Spirit will always give you back. And that's why my motto is the heart that gives is always full. If you give without thinking, if you get, and a gift is something that you don't hold on to its value, and I learned that many years ago. Spirit always returns with love and happiness, because the greatest form of wealth is not monetary value, it's how you feel and your health. So Spirit gives you in healing and health, and you feel the joy of giving. And just that one situation, I should write that down actually. It should be in my next book because it was a profound moment. So I must remember that, because I forget so many situations that have happened to me. And these situations are really important. Play gym. Gifting. I write that down and get it into all the other times that I just remember a certain situation that happened to me via Spirit and think, clever Spirit. So yeah, I gift Moldavites whenever I'm out, and I've got it around my neck, and if somebody needs it, because Spirit brings them to me, I gift him. So to answer your question, no, I normally gift Moldavite away because I want people to experience what I've. Then you're going to give it away. You're going to want people to feel it, right? If it doesn't work, then you're going to keep it to yourself and just pretend. But there's no pretense in me. If Moldavite didn't work, you think I'd be working with it and buying as much as I can because I love it? I didn't know Moldavite was going to be worth what it's worth now. I had no idea. It wasn't even an issue. I knew it was expensive back then, but not as expensive it is now. You can times it by 100-fold now. So yeah, I guess I've become lucky. Literally 300 crystals. That is no lie, no joke. We have gifted 300 crystals away from people who are sick, ill, depressed, and every month is over 200 crystals. I do that out of love because I know that crystals work. Okay, many blessings. Well, we're all true human beings. We're all true humans. We all are. We've all got that in. But there's times that I wasn't a true human being because I was going through a terrible situation of pain and suffering and trying to get my life in order. So I think we're all capable of doing that, but we first of all have to learn how to heal ourselves to get to the situation to become that perfect light for the rest of the world. So that's why you've got to work on yourself. Try one more time. Mark, what are the... keeps going down too fast. Try one more time. I saw, what are the benefits if I see for... What are the benefits from... wow, my God, I could go on all day for the benefits of Moldavite. Moldavite, when I touched a piece of Moldavite, heightened my awareness. I've never elevated off the floor. That meant that my spirit left my body. That was nothing to do with a physical. That was a spiritual moment which was so sacred. It made me realize that there's nothing that Moldavite cannot do for your spirit. So if you're thinking about astral travel, it's going to be amazing because you can attune to that leaving the physical body. When you're a healer needs to feel. So you need to be aware. You need to understand what's going on in the body of somebody else. So you need to attune to that body. The only way I could do that is feeling, through feelings, through my hands, through the energy. And I needed to understand and connect what I was feeling. What is this feeling and where is it coming from? When you wear Moldavite, it's like the missing piece of a jigsaw. And when you trust in that energy, you can go up to somebody and put your hand on them and say, if you're feeling their pain, it means that your body is becoming a mirror image of the person that you're healing. These are just a few. Strengthens your eyes, strengthens your whole physical body, awakens your physical healing. It helps with the connection of spirit as well as the connection of healing. I could go on and on and on, but Moldavite in truth is a non-stop worker, and it is a clearer and cleanser of your body, and it helps you become aware. And literally, it is the most powerful crystal that I've ever worked with. I am writing a book, and in that book there's going to be 300 to 500 pages of what Moldavite does. So it's really hard for me to tell you what Moldavite does. It does so much. It really does. Like certain crystals that I would like, I'd say this Tektite, what does it do? It does one thing. It absorbs negative energy. That's it. But that's what makes it special. What does Moldavite do? I could talk about a Moldavite for a week and not even touch the surface of what Moldavite does. You're asking questions that are not about Moldavite. I'd rather have Moldavite questions. I don't want to go off topic really. We'll do another workshop if you want, and we'll talk about off-topic workshops, but let's stick with Moldavite, eh? What time is it? We've done 1 hour and 15 minutes. I'll just answer 3 more questions. So if you're still there, I haven't seen any more questions, so see, why does some... That's not a Moldavite question. There's loads of questions which I'm seeing which aren't Moldavite questions. Is it okay for children, as my son has autism? Oh, well, I worked with a child with autism and gave them a piece of Moldavite and they went crazy. So it heightens their energy a lot. So it depends, you know, that heighten of energy. I did say to the mother, you know, if you just leave that Moldavite and let them play with it, and they'll come and go because they'll feel whenever they need it. And I don't know, for me, a Moldavite, I could never say it's bad for anybody. I mean, because I'd be saying that and just erring on the side of caution, just to be careful. But I can't say it's bad for anybody because I've never seen anything bad happen. I've only seen energetic energy, power, wonderful, tears, sadness, clearing, but they've all been really, really positive at the end of it. And, you know, the only thing I've only seen is people's fear of Moldavite because it was too much for them. And I used to say, well, listen, you have to break down, you have to break through all of that. So keep it on, keep wearing it, or don't wear it and wear it whenever you want. It's up to you. It's not a big deal. But if you're asking me how I broke through that period of, oh my God, this is so strong, I don't want to wear it anymore, it's too much. Something told me, keep it on, keep wearing it, keep it on, it's clearing, it's healing you, it's clearing, it's healing you. That's why I never take a Moldavite off. I'm feeling really bad because I know that feeling of badness is what's coming out of me. It's me feeling bad. It's my body is feeling whatever that inner pain and struggle is to then deplete and disappear. So I guess you've got to feel something. And I often say this to you, if you cut yourself, if you get some alcohol and pour it on there, that burning feeling is the feeling that you know will be the worst feeling in the world, but that is what is actually healing and clearing anything that's causing the issue. And that's how I see Moldavite when you're in pain. That's the burning away of the negativity. It's that simple. Yeah, I mean, imagine yourself as an onion. You peel one layer of the onion and you start to cry. You peel another layer and you start to cry. When you're wearing Moldavite, it's like a lot of the times you're peeling away a pain that you didn't even know that could even be your past life. So there's many a times I'll hold Moldavite and start crying and I think, hey, upstairs another peeling away of the onion. That's me. Nobody's asking any questions now, so have you all gone? I don't see any more questions. Well, that's interesting. The Moldavite, I believe, is a planet, and a planet which was very spiritual. I'm going to write about that and talk about it in the book. Absolutely, Moldavite raises past life memories. Absolutely, 150%. I have done healing sessions that ended up past life regression, that they saw themselves on different planets, that they saw themselves in different forms in this life, whether it be animal, because a lot of people believe that animals don't have souls, but that's not true. Animals have is equal in soul than you and me. So we can choose to come back as human or animal or even insect. I know it sounds bizarre, but our spirit isn't of a size. It can be as tiny as a pinhead, our spirit, and it can be as big as an elephant. So, you know, at the end of the day, there is not just one world, and there are many worlds, and we don't just come from this planet. We come from many different worlds, and time and space means nothing when you are of spirit. And I have seen this by giving healing sessions to thousands of people. So yes, Moldavite is probably the most powerful talisman to awaken your past life. So great for any past life regressionist. Also, I knew somebody who was a future life regressionist, meaning that she could tell you who you're going to be in your next life. That I don't know, but what I can tell you is that I have seen people and I have felt certain things happen to somebody, and say to them, in your past life I saw you doing this as I was holding Moldavite. They'll start crying and say, how did you know that? I have an affection for this situation. And I said, that's because you were that person in a past life. Yeah, really interesting. Okay, I'm gonna come further forward so I can see this. Let's have a look now. Further forward now. Let's have a look. Where are we? Is Moldavite associated with certain higher dimensional beings? I believe so, and I'm writing about that in the book. I have experienced certain things that have happened to me that there is no doubt whatsoever that there is a connection with the planet it was from and other planets thereby connecting, and there is some kind of memory within that awakens us to that extraterrestrial energy. Without a doubt, it goes down into such a deep hole of mystery and understanding. We haven't even tapped into 1% of Moldavite and understanding it. So yes, I do believe it's very much to do with other planets and nowhere near our solar system. Yeah, I work with big pieces of Moldavite depending on what I'm doing. But I used to have 3 pieces of Moldavite at one time that I worked with constantly. But I sold them to somebody who really, really, really wanted them, who was a very famous singer in the world. She bought all 3 pieces. One was 62 grams, one was 79 grams, and one was 82 grams. That was when I was in the height of my healing time. And the money that I got from that, then I ended up buying lots and lots of Moldavite, which then started off my Moldavite collection on Bajerski.com. So it was good because people then were being more introduced to it. NASA found green splatter glass on the moon. Of course they did. And there's something very interesting in that I'm talking about in my book too. So well done, you're absolutely right. Moldavite went to a lot of places, guys, not just here. Angel chime. Yeah, angel chime. People talk about angel chime being, when you drop it, it goes ding, it chimes like a piece of Moldavite. That's a different vibration than, say, like a piece from Malicloman. It doesn't matter, like this one here. But they all have their uniqueness in energy. That's why I'm saying each piece of Moldavite is very unique, but Moldavite that is absolutely beautiful, like this piece, divine in all its shape, but you get a little tiny piece like this, and this is divine in its also shape and energy. So you can't classify spiritually a piece of Moldavite by its value. Each one has a unique piece. So like I have 3 or 4 pieces in there that I work with, the little ones for my meditation, which is so amazing, and they cost me what, 18, about 8, one cost me 18 euros, one cost me 22 euros, and the other one maybe 31 euros, and they're all roughly about, I'll just go and get you them now. So that was about 31, 32 euros from a dealer. It's very beautiful. It's got a shape of a face. That's gorgeous. This is trade. That's another piece. That was, I think, 18 euros. Beautiful. Shape of a wolf. And this little piece as well. So, I'll put them back because I don't want to working with them for the moment. The only thing I would say is just make sure you buy genuine Moldavite. That's the bottom line. I think once you bought a piece of genuine Moldavite, then you'll understand everything and you'll feel everything. I have a piece of Moldavite when I first got it. It felt strong. Now it is weak. No, it's not weak. It isn't. There's no such thing as a weak piece of Moldavite. Look, what is a Moldavite for?
It's to heighten your awareness. It's to clear your negative energy. It's to make you feel stronger and better and more powerful. Okay? This isn't like a tablet that you swallow and you feel drugs and you feel amazing. This is about natural form of healing. Once you hold a piece of Moldavite and you awaken something and it becomes powerful, it's at that point that you need to continue that work. Most people are just relying on a piece of Moldavite to always be Moldavite that makes me more powerful. No, Moldavite is here to make it helps you open up. So it clears the pain. It awakens you to this beautiful, amazing energy, right? But then you have to then take over that. You have to be that amazing energy. So like a Moldavite isn't really an extension of you. It's there to help awaken you so that you can then use your own beautiful crystal that you are to astral travel. So it's just like a yeah, I had a piece of Moldavite for about 8 years, and it was a teardrop, which was only a small one, very thin. And when I first held that, I was doing some magnificent work, and then it didn't feel like, oh, this is. And then I realized whatever it did, it awakened me to that feeling. So I realized then Moldavite helps you attune to whatever you need to heal and strengthen from. Now you've got that, you have to do the work. So again, I've never ever had a piece of Moldavite that I felt is weak, because I'll tell you why. I look at all aspects of it. So you're right in a sense. Oh, I don't feel anything anymore. It makes sense that you think it doesn't work, but when I put a piece of Moldavite into somebody's hand, which I received so much from and didn't anymore, they were blown away. They were crying, they were seeing things, they said they'd never felt better in my life. Well, hang on a minute, it doesn't work for me anymore, I thought. And then I realised, no, Moldavite doesn't do that. It helps you see and awaken your own gift. So then I realized Moldavite isn't what I thought. It isn't the Moldavite which is doing it. The Moldavite is helping you connect to your higher self. So it's showing you your potential. And then, of course, that crystal would come back to me after about a year. She said, oh, it's not working anymore. And I said, no, not that it's not working anymore. It's helped you to awaken and become more powerful. I took that same little beautiful piece of Moldavite, which was like a teardrop, very thin one, and I was blown away for the next 2 days. And the feeling of what I was getting was immense. So they don't, yeah, Moldavite works in its own way. Give a Moldavite a break for a couple of 3 months and then put it back on, and then you'll see. The black dots in the Moldavite, yeah, right. You can only really see them in under a microscope normally. You can see the like unusual formations, but you know something. Even the fake Moldavite, if you turn to a certain degree on the microscope, it's very similar. It's like bubbles, like big bloop, 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 bubbles everywhere. And you're looking for certain, they call them inclusions. That's going deep into it. But, you know, I don't really have the answer. All I can say is that one thing that fascinated me about Moldavite when I was looking at a certain piece over 2 or 3 months, like, this was weird. When clear almost. And now it's got these black little bits and it's starting to become like a different shape inside. And I realised that Moldavite is alive and so is all crystals. But Moldavite changes its structure. Then I thought, oh, this must be because of the sun. It must be a fake piece of Moldavite. No, it wasn't. Because I like to always think, because I want to be, you know, I could be wrong. And no, it wasn't in the sun. This was a piece that I had to one side, and I checked it again, and it was changing shape to a point where I took some photos of it, and I looked at it carefully, and there was a change of structure. And then I was thinking, oh, could it be my camera? Am I getting a different, you know? So the point being that I kind of stopped all of that and then realized, you know what? Moldavite changes its structure. It changes its structure, again, I'm writing about this in my book, to suit you. So it's changing its format to form a certain energy to help you. So again, that's another story. Okay, guys, it's 1:30. I think I'm done. I'm a little bit tired now. It's because I haven't drunk any water. Well, my gift to you was this 1.5 hours of my knowledge of Moldavite. I wish you a beautiful journey with your Moldavite. I do want to say thank you so much for going to Lemon House and making a purchase there to help them grow and become one of the biggest companies in the world that are going to do some great good for the world. I really want Lemon House to be globally big to help the world as they do now. That's why I support them, and they've supported me. So yeah, if you haven't, go to Lemon House and make one simple purchase, and you will be in the draw for everything down here. There's 6 drawers. There's a big, beautiful piece of, I'll show you. All of that collection of my personal crystals. Then another drawer is the set of 3 sacred sticks. Look at that. I know it's the Moldavite we're talking about, but this is fluoride, and there's a few other bits and pieces. So the draw is tomorrow at 6 o'clock. So if you want to be in with a draw, and I'll pull the name out at 6 o'clock, and I'll do that maybe live. I think that's it, really. Yeah, I mean, this week and last week was a dedication to Lemon House because they've been so kind. And when people are kind to me, I'm always kind back. Oh, yeah, of course. And the bottles of water. I'm going to now fill up 50 of these bottles from here. And thank you for watching. Just go to info@markbajerski.com and simply write the word either blessed water or sacred mist, okay? And if you want to buy a sacred mist and keep that bottle and support Lemon House, then just go to Lemon House. I'll leave the link at the bottom. It's Lemon House Global, or just go to any search engine and type in Sacred Mist by Lemon House, and I'm sure it'll come up. I think that's it, really. I think I've done my best. The products that I work with on my website are awakening sticks, which are fantastic, that I've just shown you. Moldavite oil, fabulous to work with for meditation and to connect to your extraterrestrial energy, which is really brilliant. And Lemon House, of course, has the sacred oil. And I think that's everything, really. Of course, these here, which are my Moldavite trios, my most beautiful crystals in the world, these here are really beautiful, but the settings aren't as strong, so I wouldn't put them on the website. I'm going to reset them again because I try and get quality control. Can't get it right all the time. But I have those right now, and they will be hopefully on the website in the next 3 or 4 days. That's it, really. Go and support your local crystal shop. That's what I would want from you. Support. We don't want crystal shops to go, because then all you've got is Amazon and eBay, and that is sure sign that you're going to be buying fake. And I don't want, and like the guy the one guy I told you about It says go buy most expensive, the highest price. Click on that and you'll see it. It's the most beautiful Moldavite in the world, and it's got a name. It's Flame, the Flame of Bohemia. When I was talking to him, and we were talking about fake Moldavite, I kind of got a bit upset because one of the things that he said was, well, you know what, if people are going to buy cheap, buy a piece of Moldavite for 10 euros, then they deserve what they get. Well, you know what, guys, that isn't the way I see it. I think personally people should be able to afford Moldavite, and there shouldn't be a fake piece of Moldavite in the world. I don't run the world. There's nothing I can do about China, and there's nothing I can do about India now, but there is more fake Moldavite than any other crystal, I believe, in the world. So bear that in mind and go to a right source. A piece of paper that says this certificate certifies that this is a genuine piece of Moldavite means nothing. I can tell you that because I go to the Czech Republic and I've spoken to many people, and I know many stories that many of these people do. So go to your local crystal store and ask them to get you a genuine piece of Moldavite. I think that's the best way. If you know somebody who goes there to the Czech Republic like me, then you're going to be fairly safe because they're buying right from source. My three sources are one who has been a digger all his life. The other source is, like I said, the young German man who's pretty awesome and has some amazing crystals. And one more other guy who is probably one of the biggest Moldavite sellers in the Czech Republic, who I had the pleasure to meet, who's a real character. So they're my genuine sources. I buy from nowhere else. And that's it. So that's what you need to really, really focus on, who you're buying it from. Okay? I'm going to get on with this now and pack these and get them ready for Monday. Okay? Enjoy the water because it's amazing. It really is. The mist is bloody awesome. Amazing. Okay, thank you guys. You are amazing too. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you've enjoyed this 1.5 hour workshop of Moldavite. I hope I've answered some of your questions. If not, there's always another day. Take care of yourselves, guys. Love you all. Bye for now.